Hello, welcome to this edition of Editor's Notebook. My name is Mark O'Keefe. I'm Executive Editor for Herald-Standard.com. And we have a special guest here today. We have Chelsea Settles. Chelsea, as many of you know, was the star of her own MTV Chelsea Settles reality show. And we feel so honored to have her, and we're very glad that you agreed to come on the show, that we're going to do an hour. We're going to do two segments, two half-hour segments with Chelsea. We just didn't feel that there was any way we could squeeze everything into a half hour. We certainly have a lot to talk about. As I was telling Chelsea before we started the show, I remember last year when the show aired from October to December, it was 12 episodes, right? And when I first heard about it, and I'm not a fan of reality shows and stuff, and a lot of times you see people on these shows, but I do watch them, they're acting like idiots, throwing tantrums and all that sort of thing. So I was kind of, I felt like, well, I've got to watch this show and see how this, Uniontown woman's going to do here. But I was really kind of watching it with some trepidation, like wondering, what she was going to be. And I got to tell you, you were just great. I mean, you were very sweet and very kind of an inner kind of sweetness or whatever, very nice and, bubbly personality and stuff, and I think that really came through. Thank you. And that's obviously why they picked you. But, it was pretty interesting, particularly in the first couple shows. They showed a lot of Uniontown. It was kind of neat seeing the cross and, different places. And you were, in the show, you were very kind of conflicted about leaving and, and I thought it was pretty neat. You talked a lot about your family and your friends, your mother who has health problems and stuff, and you were kind of torn about whether or not you should be leaving her or, whatever, but just kind of leaving your friends and family. And I'm sure a lot of young people face those kind of decisions here and probably elsewhere. But I thought that, we're kind of trying to divide this up somewhat, and I thought for the first segment, I just kind of want to talk about like how this kind of happened, because I think a lot of people probably don't realize, I mean, it really was kind of a one in a million, and it's really a testament to you and your personality and your character that, kind of shown through, and that's what was so appealing probably to the producers and everybody, and was in the end appealing to a lot of people out there that tuned in to watch the show. So we were talking the other day about how you kind of got picked. You were a little bit familiar with these casting calls and stuff, and you had been through one and didn't get picked for a show. So when did you find out about this particular show that ended up being the Chelsea Settles show?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. I'm definitely a person that believes that you can't forget, where you've come from, and I'm just, it's weird. I'm still pinching myself about this whole experience, I have to be honest with you. But I just went on MTV's website. They were looking for an overweight girl between 18 to 24, and you basically just had to write an email telling them about your life and attach a couple of pictures. So I did that on a whim. I felt something in my core telling me that, I should just take a chance and try and see what would happen. So I did that, and the rest is history. I had an email from a casting director in 15 minutes, and I was just so tickled, like, oh my God, someone from MTV is emailing me.
Then you made a tape, right?
Yeah, she told me to make a 15-minute tape.
You had to find a friend to do this tape. And what did you say on this tape? I mean, it must have been very impressive for them to, I'm sure they had hundreds and thousands of people, sending them and stuff.
I didn't think it was anything really special. I just sat down and I talked about myself, and I took them, we did it in the green room at my school. I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, so we did it there, and I took them up to a classroom and showed them something silly I did before class started, like finding a desk that I could fit into that was away from everyone. And that was it. It was 15 minutes of me just going on and on about, my life. And I played the victim a lot back then, like, all of my problems are because I'm fat and I'm just so miserable. So it was a lot of that.
Well, whatever it was, it certainly caught their attention. So then they kind of okayed it, and they did come out here and do some taping and
it took
and
so long. Oh my gosh.
sort of thing. But then you had to wait to see if it was actually going to be green
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
I've learned that is what production definitely is. Hurry up and wait. So they came out to Uniontown for 3 days, and I didn't tell anyone that I had applied for the show. My mom and my grandma knew, and that was it. I didn't tell my closest friends. When they told me they were coming in October of 2009 and they wanted to meet with a couple of my friends, I basically had to tell them, like, do you think you can come to the Beanery at 9 o'clock because MTV's coming and they're going to be following me around for 3 days? Like, excuse me, what? What are you talking about? Like, I'm sure everyone thought I was lying for the longest time. So they came for 3 days. That was an experience. I just felt like, oh my God, this is so cool. There are people from MTV in Uniontown. And after that, I didn't hear anything until January of 2010. So I just went on with my life, kept going to school, kept eating, obviously, and that was pretty much it. They came back for 2 weeks in January, again for a week in March, and then we were done with the pilot.
Because I remember the shows of Uniontown kind of worked. It was in the winter, whatever, when they were kind of driving around and checking out different places, and you were going through the whole thing of whether or not you wanted to leave or whatever. Because part of the show, of course, was that you were going out to LA to pursue a career in fashion merchandise or whatever, and there was the weight loss angle of it, which we'll kind of talk about later. So then they ended up. When did you finally get the green light, or when did they give the approval?
We finished up filming the pilot in June of 2010, so the show was greenlit in August of 2010, and then I moved to LA in December of 2010.
So then that's when you started shooting the shows out there.
And it takes about 4 weeks to shoot one episode. We were filming for 6 to 8 hours a day. Well, I was filming for 6 to 8 hours a day. Everyone else would have these easy breezy schedules. They could live their lives, and it was nothing. It's just like, okay, we're gonna need you Tuesday and Thursday, or 3 weeks from now, we're going to need you. And every single day, they were knocking at the door in the white 16-passenger van. So when I see those vans now, I have nightmares. I'm like looking everywhere for these vans now. But yeah.
So then finally, you did get the okay to do the show and stuff. And then, so you said, how long did it took, what did you say, 4?
It took about 8 months for us to film the entire series, the 12 episodes, but I had to keep, they stayed in my life for a while because we had to tie up some scenes. If there was something that was muffled in an interview, I would have to go and say lines, like a voiceover or something like that. So you learn a lot, like the behind the scenes stuff that goes on. So it's really hard for me to watch reality TV now. It was as authentic as it could be, but with all reality TV, it doesn't matter what it is. Dancing with the Stars, American Idol, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, my favorite. You have to take it with a grain of salt. You definitely do, because things have to be done.
Right, and I think anybody watching that would have to understand it.
I didn't know. I didn't know before this experience. I was watching thinking, these people are so stupid. Why are they doing that? This is ridiculous. And when the show started to air and people were saying that type of stuff to me, my insides were jarred. I remember being on Twitter because we had to do a live tweet, and I had 94 followers, a pitiful existence on Twitter. And by the end of the night, 3,000, and I was just like shaking for 2 days. I could not eat, I could not sleep. My phone was just attached to my hand. I'm reading every message. Like, your hair was out of place in this scene, and you're such a crybaby, you're this, you're that. But there were more positive.
Yeah, I'm sure there were.
More positive.
Yeah,
I would cling to the negative.
Right.
Like, these people are so mean. So I don't talk about anyone on TV anymore. Not at all.
Well, so then the show finally airs, and then really your life really changed then, right? I mean, you were a lot of interviews, different TV shows, and that sort of thing. So what was that like?
I had never been to New York before, and my first experience in the city was being on Wendy Williams. So I feel like I didn't get to go to Coney Island, see the Statue of Liberty, you know, see all of this cool stuff, the Empire State Building. No, it's Wendy Williams, and I watched her faithfully. So I was sick. I was sick to my stomach. I could not breathe. It was just, it's been a whirlwind experience. I'm just Chelsea. I'm Chelsea from Uniontown, and to have all of this stuff happen, it's just mind-boggling, but it's really restored my faith in believing that anything can happen to any person, because I thought that was corny when people would say that, like, oh, sure, 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 like you're just saying that, but no, 100%, this is the truth. I mean, I am like a really quiet, shy person. I've lived here for years. I never in a million years thought that I would be on MTV. I would just say things. Yeah. Because I looked in my yearbook, and my senior year I wrote.
From Uniontown, what, 2005?
Yeah, 2005.
Right?
And I wrote that I wanted to be on a season of MTV's The Real World and to be the next Oprah. And I was like, what was I thinking? But, okay, not The Real World, but
well, so you obviously kind of at least maybe had that kind of in you a little bit, or to at least
I'm an only
think
child,
that or whatever.
so my imagination is completely crazy. I've been a dreamer for my entire life, so it's just, my grandma would say, you're always coming up with some type of scheme. It's because I've had nothing but time to write and journal and draft and just, you know, I've lived this really crazy lifestyle in my mind for the longest time. My dreams are crazy. Party with Paris Hilton, hang out with the Kardashians, jet set to Paris. Who knows?
So what was it to be able to do some of that stuff actually, and beyond, you know, national TV and beyond these different shows and be interviewed for all these different stories? Was it what you thought it was going to be, or?
Everyone was really nice, and I enjoyed connecting with people. I enjoyed connecting with viewers, but for me, when the show started to air, like this was something that was completely out of this world, so I want it to be back at home. I want it to be with my family and people that have known me for, like, you know, my entire life, so I didn't have to worry about, you know, the whole like, oh my God, I'm in this alone, and this is really scary. So my family is amazing, and they've been a wonderful support system. They've listened to my complaints. They've dealt with me ignoring them while I'm tweeting viewers of the show, or, you know, just isolating myself whenever it got hard, or jet setting around all of these different places and not really having time. So I'm just really grateful to have that, and I'm glad that I didn't stay in LA while the show was airing, because it would have been awful.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At theheraldstandard.com, our mission is to provide news, information, and services to enable our communities to prosper. Every day, we strive to achieve this goal through 3 dynamic products. Wake up each morning to a copy of the Herald-Standard.com newspaper delivered to your home. Enjoy the e-edition and exact replica of our print product on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Or secure unlimited access to our full-coverage digital news site online at heraldstandard.com. One local news leader, 3 great options.
Okay, welcome back to this edition of Editor's Notebook. My name is Mark O'Keefe. I'm executive editor for Herald-Standard.com. And with us is Chelsea Settles. Chelsea Settles is, as you probably know, is starred in her own reality show for MTV, and as we were saying in the first part, you know, just really did a great job. And the critics, for overwhelmingly, when I was reading them, they talked about how natural you seem, and they were a lot of people praised you. And I know, just kind of watching it as somebody from Uniontown, I was very proud of how you carried yourself and how you acted. You weren't some kind of spoiled star or throwing tantrums or whining. Well, maybe just a little, but
whining definitely. Just a little, I have to own up to that.
But, it was a fun show, and hopefully people did have a chance to watch it. And so we talked about in the first part. We were talking about how you kind of got picked and the process you went through, and really, I mean, you just have to think that it was pretty much a 1 in a million, and was a real testament to you and your personality and your character that somehow you got picked for this. I mean, it's not like, well, you were the only one that sent a tape in, or like, well, we have to do her because she's the only one. There was probably hundreds of thousands of people trying to do the same thing, and then you have all these reality shows out there, and not all of them get picked up or green lighted, you know. So it was really cool and really neat. So I want to talk in this segment now about what you've been doing since the show and what kind of plans you have for the future, and you know what you want to do with your life in the years ahead.
So with this entire experience in the show, I had to completely remove myself from the equation as much as I could, even though it was self-titled. I just had to say, okay, you know what? This is not just about me, Chelsea, the person. This has to be something that other people relate to. And there's a bigger purpose for all of this to come together. It was to inspire people, to get them to see that, you know, their dreams were something that it doesn't just have to be a dream, it's something that's possible, and you really just have to find that belief and the desire to stay motivated and get things done. So throughout this entire journey, I keep that in mind. It's more than just me. So obviously fashion is my first love. That is my baby. I am still paying Sally Mae for this dream of pursuing a career in fashion. So
that's where you were going to the Art Institute in Pittsburgh for that. So you did graduate?
Yeah, I graduated. I have my bachelor's in fashion retail management and merchandising. So that's definitely, you know, something that is going to be on the back burner, because throughout this, you know, experience, I've found this passion for connecting with people, for helping people, and just wanting to spend my life doing something good, paying forward everything that I've learned, because I know what it's like to be a girl or just a person in general that has insecurities, that has little self-worth and doesn't think they're going to accomplish what they were, you know, sent to this earth to accomplish. So that's my main focus. I've done a lot of motivational speaking at colleges and different organizations. I spend a lot of time doing interviews and blogging. I spent a month in Utah at the Biggest Loser Resort, and that was an amazing experience. I was doing these 10-mile hikes, gorgeous, like Red Rock Mountain, and there were lakes everywhere, just incredible things. This summer I'll be in the Poconos instructing a course on building self-esteem and self-confidence to 400 female campers between the ages of 7 to 19. This camp was on True Life, I'm Going to Fat Camp, so I am just really excited to see these people, these girls, blossom over the course of this 9 weeks and see their confidence skyrocket, because I know what that feels like. I was a person, I'm never wearing shorts, I'm not wearing my arms out, I'm not talking to guys, and eventually it's just like you start to shed the weight and you just feel so much better about yourself, like, oh wow, I'm doing this, I'm gonna wear some shorts today, or maybe I'll wear a dress, and I can't wait to see that evolution, and I'm so honored that they're allowing me to come and hang out. It's gonna be an awesome experience. So I'm counting down about 18 days, I think.
So you'll be doing that for this summer then?
Yeah.
You'll be going up there. Then what else? Do you have plans after that, or you just kind of take it one day at a time?
I am such a free spirit. I am a nomad. I feel like I've been home for a couple of weeks because I don't know exactly where I want to go next. I don't know which city I want to be based out of. I do know that LA is incredible, but it's so far away from my family that I'm thinking New York. My mom doesn't like that idea. She's like, there's no grass there. But
well, there is some. You got such a park.
That's what I said. That's what I said. So if you're watching, Mom, there is grass. But maybe DC or Maryland. I just want to be within driving distance of my family.
DC's nice. You know, there's a lot of nice ports down there and stuff, and it's only about 3 or 4 hours away.
Yeah, so if I can hop in the car and I'm feeling homesick and I can come home and have a home-cooked meal, then I'm game. But I'm not dropping $700 on a flight every time you turn around, even though Southwest has been really good to me.
Well, what about when you come back home to Uniontown? I mean, do people, they recognize you when you go to the mall or something? Do people come up to you? Do they?
At home, I get recognized a lot, but it really trips me out in other places, like different states. I'm just like, what? I kind of expected it here, but I thought people would just be like, oh, whatever, that's just Chelsea. but people will come up and ask for autographs, and they're like, I hope I'm not being annoying. No, I just think it's strange that people are asking me for my autograph, but I'm humbled by all of it. I mean, I'm grateful for all of the support, and it's just different coming from your hometown. I mean, the show aired internationally, so I have people that reach out to me from places that I can't pronounce, and I'm grateful for all of the support, but coming from Uniontown, that just melts my heart like a little popsicle. Like, oh, I love everyone here.
You hear from like maybe kids you went to high school with, or teachers, or anybody like that?
Teachers, kids I went to high school with, some kids that are in high school now, so they never knew me, and I was like walking through the mall a couple of weeks ago, and I heard these girls whispering like, that's Chelsea Settles, and I'm like, oh gosh, that is just so weird. Because normally you see people looking at you and you think to yourself like, why are they staring? And then it takes me a minute and I'm like, oh, yeah, you were on MTV, that's why they're staring. So it's never really in my mind now that people are saying something. You think you hear your name, but you just keep walking. And I'm like, oh no, they're really saying that. This is really happening.
Maybe people kind of looking at you and you're like, why are they looking at me?
Yeah, like what's going on? But I'm so approachable. I'm such a nice person. I'm down to earth. I do not have this larger than life personality where if you come up to me or you ask me a question, I'm going to blow you off. That's just not me. You have to be really careful with how you treat people and how you interact, because the same people that you pass on the way up, you will see on the way down. And if you are not nice, then, well, that's just your loss. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a fun journey for you.
And I would suspect that most people probably are pretty nice when you do see somebody out in the, or they do come up to you or whatever. Has that been your typical experience?
Yeah, a mix, some whispers, but people do come up, give me a hug. I was at the Meadows for Mother's Day, and a lady came up to me crying. She was probably in her 40s, and she was just like, oh my God, my daughter was cutting herself, and she watched the show, and she's lost 20 pounds since then, and you just don't understand what an inspiration you are to people, and that means so much to me. It truly does.
Yeah. What about kind of fame? What are some of your thoughts about that now? Kind of, since you kind of experienced that, I guess there's kind of a good side, but maybe kind of a not so good side to it.
There are lots of girls that will tell me like, I want my own reality show, or how do I make this happen? How did you do this? There are tons of castings out there for every network. So really, if you apply to something, then, you just do it, and you don't know what's going to happen. But if you do get picked for something, please contact me and tell me how you feel now, because chances are you're second guessing that whole thought. Every morning I would wake up and I would think, what did I get myself into? Am I going to make it? I went to Hollywood my 4th day being out there, and I was basically packed and ready to board the plane back to Uniontown. I had it picked out. I was in my mind. I saw myself at the window seat, and my boxes and car, they were getting shipped back. I was out of there. I called my mom crying hysterically, and
there was certainly some of that in the show, as you were.
Oh, there was a lot of it, but this one didn't make it. I kind of just stormed off, and I'm just like, I'm not doing this. This is complete BS. And then I felt so bad, but there's a lot of stress that is put on you while doing something like this. It's just, if you've never experienced this type of lifestyle, it's out of this world. You have people that think they know you because of 30-minute episodes, and there's so much more to me as a person. I'm silly, I'm not so whiny, I'm a complete goofball, I am very bubbly, I'm actually quite optimistic, but I feel like because it takes us so long to film, like I said, 8 hours, if they're cutting that footage down into a minute, they can do pretty much anything they want in that editing room because they're super creative and super talented, and that's all I'll say about that, because I never bite the hand. Never bite the hand that feeds you.
But it probably had to be hard, too, in a sense that you're always on, right? I mean, because that camera was there, those microphones were there, and that probably was kind of a difficult thing. Sure, it'd be hard for anybody if you had to be kind of like on all the time. Everybody wants to have some time just to be left alone.
But we became a family. The crew and the people that worked on the show, the PAs, the producers, they were also invested in me that they just became, you know, my family away from my family. So I feel really fortunate that I had all of them in my corner. As hard as it was, they were uplifting and just really motivated me and believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Because I didn't at the start of this. I didn't think that I'd be able to pull this off. I didn't think people would watch. I thought I would look retarded. I didn't know why they picked me. I would always think, why do I have this show? When I found out that it was going to be my name, why is this even going on? I do not understand. But you never see what other people see in you.
No, it was
and
pretty.
Sometimes it's good that way.
Yeah, it was pretty clear, I think, when you did see the show, that why they picked you, because you just came across as somebody who was down to earth and very sweet, and seemed like just a really nice person. And I think that was kind of the whole thing then, to see you go through this whole, you know, kind of fame experience and kind of what it would do to you. And I think it probably kind of hard though too to maybe figure out who's real and who's, you know, what they're doing, what they're, you know, there's always people out there maybe trying to use people and stuff like that.
I've seen a lot of that, so I like to stay removed from it. It's good for me to go off and do appearances at different places. I've hosted some fashion shows. I'm a fashion week in Atlantic City in March, so I'll go and I'll do things like that, but then I come back home because that's what keeps me grounded. That's what keeps me, you know, just humble and appreciating the experience. It's so easy to get sucked into that world when you see these starlets running around, these socialites, and they're acting ridiculous and you don't understand it. It's because you really have to be on the other side to just see how that comes about. There's so many yes people in your life. You can pretty much do whatever you want. Any party that you want to get into, all you have to do is, you know, call someone, or you have a publicist that's just like, oh, you know, I want to go to a concert. I want to do this. There are perks. There's been a lot of free stuff, so I can't complain about that. But that's not what I signed up to do. I signed up to change my life and to lose weight. It was never to become some reality TV star.
Yeah,
it's probably
pretty easy too to kind of get lost into that and then kind of lose who you are.
And that's definitely not what I want, because at the end of the day, that's all you have.
Right.
And it was a blessing, and I want to view it as such, because as quickly as something is given to you, it can be taken away. I believe that wholeheartedly, so it really doesn't matter. I already feel like a winner, regardless of what's gone on with the show.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
At the Herald-Standard.com, our mission is to provide news, information, and services to enable our communities to prosper. Every day, we strive to achieve this goal through 3 dynamic products. Wake up each morning to a copy of the Herald-Standard.com newspaper delivered to your home. Enjoy the e-edition and exact replica of our print product on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Or secure unlimited access to our full-coverage digital news site online at Herald-Standard.com. One local news leader, 3 great options.
Okay, welcome to this edition of Editor's Notebook. My name is Mark O'Keefe. I'm executive editor for Herald-Standard.com. And with us today, this is part 2 of the Chelsea Settle show, part 2. Chelsea, of course, was starred. She had her own reality show on MTV called Chelsea Settles. And we're very fortunate, very glad to have you with us here today and to share some of your thoughts and observations with the folks here watching on Fayette County TV. And of course, you're from Uniontown, 2005 graduate of Uniontown. And basically the show, for anybody that may not have seen it, but basically there was 2 kind of real components to it. One was the weight loss, and you lost a ton of weight and really looked fabulous.
Thank you.
And the second part was kind of about following your dream and having the courage to succeed and stuff. So let's talk about the weight loss. Where are we at? About 100 pounds or more that you've lost now, or
over 117 pounds.
Wow, that's
my
amazing.
whole thing is, and this is so weird, but I never want to tell someone the exact number because everyone knows what I started at the beginning.
Yeah.
So there aren't
Over.
other people that are walking around with their weight plastered on
Yeah.
them. So I'm like, okay, over 117, it's more than that now,
Yeah.
but all you would have to do is subtract 324. And then what I told you, and then you'd have the weight. So I just
324 is what you
Oh,
weighed
and I
when
cringe
you
hearing that.
started it. But
it just sounds nuts.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was surprised when you even said that because I didn't think you really even weighed that much back then. But obviously you were heavier and there were some weight issues there and stuff, and that was kind of part of the whole thing. And I think we were talking before about that they would have been happy if you would have just lost 15 or 20 pounds. They had no idea that you were going to lose as much weight as you did, right?
Because that's not what it was about. I mean, at first, that's what they were looking for. They wanted a weight loss show. And then when they met me, it took on a life of its own. So it was more growing within and, you know, finding the courage to just live life and follow your dreams. But I just never imagined that this was something I'd be able to do. I've always had the desire to lose weight. I've done every diet that you can imagine. I've done okay, I'm just gonna eat one meal a day, and that would be McDonald's that I would eat. Or, okay, cabbage soup diet, the cookie diet, the banana and grapefruit, or just weird stuff that I would do. But I never had the belief in myself that this was something that I could really get done. It was just a desire. So the moment that I saw myself at the finish line and could visualize what my body would look like, things just started to happen. Things started to change. My whole attitude. Most of the time, I hear it all the time. How did you do it? What's the secret? There is not a secret. I did not have a surgery. I didn't take any type of crazy magical pill. I didn't approach the situation with a defeatist attitude like I had done so many years prior to losing it. I really had to bust my butt and get this done. Waking up, filming 8-hour days, I had to get up at 5, and I went to my trainer's boot camp for an hour, and I was working out in front of these really fit, super skinny, beautiful people in LA, and I just felt like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm not gonna be able to do this. But they were amazing, and they supported me, and they've been rooting me on this entire time, just seeing the changes happen. Because often you don't see the change yourself. I would look in the mirror and I would still see 324. I wouldn't see what I currently was at.
So when did you start to really kind of get into it? Was it just that you started to see the results, you started to see that you were losing the weight, you were feeling better, and then that gave you more motivation to do more? Or is that kind of how it worked?
I met my trainer and she told me to cut out gluten, dairy, sugar, and to eat very little sodium. So I thought she was absolutely insane. She came to my house and she threw out every processed food that I had loved dear, that I had spent money on, because who has money to throw away? Like, just, you're tossing out this food, you're telling me I can't.
Good food.
Yeah,
What's wrong with her?
I can't have a Slim Fast Shake. I thought I was doing great. Slim Fast Shake, Smart Ones, 100-calorie packs of everything that you can imagine. And she's getting rid of all of them. And it's like, this lady is nuts. But the very next day, I went grocery shopping and I just stopped cold turkey. I got up in the morning and I forced myself to eat breakfast. My diet was the same every day. She told me to food journal, but after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, this looks the same every day. I'm not writing this down. So, yeah.
What's the point there? And,
there isn't a point.
Yeah. And what about exercise? Because obviously that's a big part of it too. So how often were you exercising? And
I would watch these shows like The Biggest Loser, and these people are killing themselves for 8 hours working out. And I thought that's what you needed to do to get it done. I worked out maybe four days a week for an hour. And then there were days that I would do 2 a days if I, had some extra time or just felt like I could, had the extra energy. And I felt I could see the changes internally before, well, I could feel them internally before, you know, I could really see the outward results. I could sleep better, I wasn't breathing as hard, I felt happier. So that whole endorphins jazz that I thought was just made up is so true. Yeah, I felt like, you know, life just really isn't so bad, and this isn't very hard. I wasn't losing the, like, 20 pounds in a week like I had hoped for, because I just learned to practice consistency and balance. It's not all or nothing. You don't have to lose 20 pounds in a week followed by 30 the next week and then, oh, I've lost 50 pounds in under a month. That's not going to happen. You have to approach it in a realistic manner and just know it's something that can be done if you work hard. And you have to learn that sometimes you're going to be alone. Yeah, we all want a gym buddy, we want a support group, but everyone doesn't have that. So it's like, well, how do you get the motivation? I don't have the motivation. I do not want to get up at 6 a.m. when my alarm goes off. I don't want to get up at 11 when it goes off if I had, like, you know, a long night. I want to stay in bed. But you have to know the difference between motivation and dedication, because they go hand in hand, but they're completely different. So you just have to dedicate the time and not make excuses, and you can get it done. You don't have to have a TV show to lose weight. You just have to have the belief and the courage to step away from your safety net. And that's not even with weight loss. That's with anything that you set out to do in life. You just have to do it, because a goal without a plan is a wish.
Well, I think the hard part too, with society and stuff, I mean, it seems like women have it with weight. It's a much more emotional thing. With guys, I mean, guys have problems with weight and stuff, and, you know, but it's just much more of a kind of an emotional thing with women, and kind of somewhat maybe unrealistic. They always want to be skinnier, thinking that skinnier is just going to make them happy, when that's probably not really
it's an internal issue.
Always the case.
There's always something brewing within that you haven't tackled if you're going through any type of situation. Again, I thought that weight loss and, you know, being overweight was the most horrific, terrible thing that could happen to any person on the face of the earth. My life was doomed because I was fat. I truly believe that. Truly. I thought I would walk into a room and people were looking at me because I'm fat and they're not going to want to be my friend. They're not going to like me. I'm not going to parties. I'm not going to school dances. I'm not making, nope, not doing it. What? Who does that? But everyone goes through issues. I thought that if you were a normal weight, then you didn't have problems. I was definitely wrong, because my roommate was addicted to, you know, heroin. So if you have a drug problem, an alcohol problem, gambling, a sex addiction, like whatever it is, you're a compulsive shopper. I feel like I have a little bit of that in me too. There's something that you're going after those things to fill a void. So you just have to figure out what that is, and branch off from there. Yeah, it just seems it's more, you know, particularly for women with society and, you know, the TV shows and all this stuff, and it's almost like a lot of women are maybe chasing a goal that they're never really going to be able to reach, just because they think that being skinny equals happiness or whatever. It's about health. That's it. So if you are, you know, a plus-size woman and you're healthy, or if you are, you know, a person that is naturally thin and you're healthy, that's perfectly fine. But people have it twisted, because you can still be a normal weight and be completely unhealthy. Again, my roommate had high cholesterol because she was always eating deep-fried everything, but she was 130 pounds.
Still had some issues there. Well, and I guess part of it is that with the weight, you know, when you lose the weight, well, then you have to keep it off. But but that's where it really has to be more of a lifestyle thing than a diet. It's not
that's where the fun begins.
It's not like where you say, well, I better eat this for 6 weeks or something. No, you really have to find something a lifestyle that fits you, because you're going to have to do it pretty much for the rest of your life.
And you have to know that you're not perfect. And eating healthy really isn't that bad. It's expensive, I give you that, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to have some wiggle room, to have those days where you can, you know, I don't even want to say cheat, because it's not cheating, it's life. So, yeah, but it's not so bad.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At the Herald-Standard.com, our mission is to provide news, information, and services to enable our communities to prosper. Every day, we strive to achieve this goal through 3 dynamic products. Wake up each morning to a copy of the Herald-Standard.com newspaper delivered to your home. Enjoy the e-edition and exact replica of our print product on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Or secure unlimited access to our full-coverage digital news site online at Herald-Standard.com. One local news leader, 3 great options.
Hello, welcome back to this edition of Editor's Notebook. My name is Mark O'Keefe. I'm Executive Editor for Herald-Standard.com. With us today is Chelsea Settles, and I feel very fortunate to have Chelsea on our show today. Chelsea, of course, was the star of her own reality show on MTV, much acclaimed. A lot of people, critics and stuff really liked the show, and I found it very interesting, and really liked the character that you were, and the person that you were. Thought came across as a very nice person, not somebody who was, we've seen in other reality shows, who was, throwing tantrums and stuff like that.
I watched them all. I have to admit, I watched them all religiously.
But it was really neat, and you came across as somebody who was a very sweet person, very nice person, good sense of humor, but also somebody who did have a deep love for her family and her friends and for the hometown of Uniontown. But let's so in this part, part of the whole show, we talked before about the previous segment about the weight loss, and that was a big part of it, but really a bigger part of this whole thing was about following your dreams. Mm-hmm. And so can you talk about that, how that kind of was woven into the show? Because there definitely was a part of this where you were anguished about leaving Uniontown and going out to LA and pursuing your dream, and that's what you basically decided to do. Definitely.
I feel like when you have a safety net, it is hard to break away from it, and it doesn't matter like what your dream or your long-term goal is. We all feel safe and comfortable in our surroundings, in an environment that is familiar. So it's hard to break away from that lifestyle. I had a very good life here. I guess when I was alone, that's when I would start to break down, like, oh my God, I can't do this. I want so much more for myself. I just feel like I'm settling, and I don't want that anymore. But I mean, I have great family, I have great friends. My boyfriend is in the Army, so I had him. I had an okay life. I just had this yearning for something more. So I just decided that it was time to take a chance. And I fully believe that, the energy that you invite into your life is what your life will become. If you are a person that just feels so down and you're not going to take chances and you just don't believe in yourself, how can other people believe in you? And you're going to stay stuck in those bad habits and bad patterns. So the moment that you believe, okay, I can do this, it's going to take time, it's not going to come easy, it may not come to you in the form of a reality show, that doesn't happen for everybody, but you can make anything happen that you want to accomplish. It's just hard work, drive.
And I think, unfortunately, with a lot of kids that I've seen in, kind of growing up in Uniontown, and I think a lot of times people just think, well, I'm just kind of a small town person, and yeah, I'd really like to do that, but I don't know how, I could make that happen or whatever. And they're almost like talk themselves out of it before they really give themselves a chance to try and succeed. Is that something that you've seen, or in kids around here?
I've seen that. I've struggled with that firsthand, so I completely understand. But if you don't allow yourself to take chances, nothing will come to you. If you're not allowing yourself to reach your full potential and to be great, then what's really going to happen? You're going to stay stuck in your same old pattern, complaining about it day after day. I can't tell you how many people sit and say, I hate this town, I have to get out of here. I was one of them. But when you leave and you step away, you have a greater appreciation from for where you've come from. I feel like coming from this town has allowed me to be a person that's loving, a person that's humble, a person that, you know, supports other people and their goals and their dreams, because here it's like there's a major sense of community that a lot of people don't grow up having in major cities. Not to knock that, because I love the city lifestyle, but it's just different to live in a smaller town, because you feel like people have your back. Because here, we're not just a face, we're a name, and your name carries a story. I taught your mother, and I know your grandmother, we played bingo together, and oh, you used to dress me at Dots. And that is the kind of stuff that you want to just hit yourself over the head with a brick while you're here, but
then when you go away, you realize that is kind of neat.
I miss that. Like, I'm just walking down the street and no one knows me here, and
and nobody cares.
It's a good feeling. No one cares.
Well, you know, people back here, people care. People care about.
They want to see you do well. It's just you have to believe that you can do those things. I completely understand. So I hate to have this whole, like, you know, go on this whole tangent about, like, oh, just follow your dreams, just do that, because it sounds like a load of crap to people. But it really is the truth. I'm living proof of that. So it's something that I want to get across to anyone, not just this town, any town in America or city. Just believe in yourself and good things will come.
And that's where it really starts, though, because you have to believe in yourself, and you have to be somewhat optimistic, you know, that things can change. A lot of times I think people kind of just get beaten down by life or whatever, and unfortunately then sometimes people pass that on to their kids, and then they start to think that, oh well, you know, nothing good is really ever going to happen. And everybody goes through obstacles and things in life, but you know, if you persevere and you keep at it, you can achieve whatever you set out to do.
Definitely. You have to be resilient. And sometimes you have to fine-tune, you know, your goals or your dreams. The plan changes every single day. I'm approached with different opportunities, so I start thinking, do I really want to do that? Do I want to do this? And you just have to roll with the punches and to not take everything so seriously. You do have to be serious, but enjoy life and have fun while you can, and smile a little, because you don't want to have frown lines. Like that's my major thing. Like, people are like, are you really that happy, or do you spend all day smiling, or is this just, well, I smile because I don't want those frown lines. I don't. And we're living, we're breathing. I woke up this morning. What do I really have to complain about?
Right. Yeah, I mean, so many times people I think they just look at negative things instead of looking at the positive things that you do have in your life, and maybe appreciating what you have instead of hoping for something that may
You'll
not
never
be
be happy.
Right.
If you just continue to want more and you want all of these possessions and materialistic things, you're never going to be satisfied. You're going to keep chasing something that is not really attainable, and if it is attainable to you once you get it, you're still going to be miserable, because you'll convince yourself that you still don't have enough. So the moment that you step back and you appreciate what you have and the people that you do have in your life, and you start to value that, everything else just starts to make sense.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much going to wrap up our show today. I want to thank Chelsea Settles for coming on our show, and hopefully people will do listen to what you have to say, and hopefully, you know, people are inspired by what you have to say. And, you know, again, it's just amazing, you know, coming from Uniontown to have your own show and national TV. And any thoughts about any other acting, or is that pretty much it?
I don't know. Again, free spirit, just going through life, approaching things as they come. So I'm just grateful to be here.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for being on our show today.
Thank you. It was fun.
And I want to thank you for watching. My name is Mark Hucke. I'm executive editor for Herald-Standard.com, and we'll see you later.